Hi, I'm Joy,
Hi, I'm Lorraine.
and this is Girlish Gurus. And Lorraine, why are we here?
We're here to talk about mid-lifestyle topics for women who are 45 and older to help you live your best, healthiest, and most fulfilled life. We're also going to have lots of fun along the way.
So let's get started. Welcome back to Girlish Gurus. I'm Joy.
And I'm Lorraine.
Lorraine, what are we talking about today?
Today we have a special guest, Alicia Jones of Alicia Jones Healthy Living. And she has created Over 50 Fit and Fabulous. And we're going
Ooh.
to get a little bit into, she also has a fabulous free masterclass, which stay tuned to the end of the podcast because she'll be sharing all about that. And you'll be able to sign up for that. Since 2006, Alicia Jones has helped transform the health and lives of women over 50 through her fitness and weight loss strategies. Alicia is an expert featured in major outlets, including Shape Magazine, VeryWellFit, and Aaptiv. She has a BA in Kinesiology and adds many certifications to her list of qualifications, including National Coach of Canada, Advanced Sports Nutrition, Certified Group Fitness Instructor, Personal Training Specialist for Canfit-pro, and many others. If you want to learn more about her unique food and fitness formula, join her free masterclass at the link in this description. I actually met Alicia a couple of years ago. We've known each other when she was doing the Women Over 50 Get Fit Wellness Summit. And I was a guest on that. And that was a fabulous thing. I was able to share that with all the ladies, all my magical ladies in my group. And she had great speakers on that. So we've kind of been in touch since then, on and off. And now we've finally connected again. So welcome, Alicia.
Yes, welcome.
Thanks for having me. Oh, well, thank you for having me. And I've been stalking you on Instagram, so we've definitely been connected.
And I see your posts too. And actually, I showed Joy one today, the walking post that you did.
Yes.
Yeah. So we can talk a little bit about that too as we get into a little bit of your fit.
Ooh,
I mean, 50 fit. Wait a minute.
I know it's such a mouthful. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I should just change the name, but no, over 50, fit, and fabulous.
Over
Yes.
50 fit and fabulous.
It's a lot of F's, right?
Well, for people that listen to our podcast, they know that I always have problems with pronunciation. Say, look at that.
Oh, Lorraine, you're so
Oh my
It's your
fun.
beautiful accent, Lorraine. It's your accent. Don't lose it. I love it.
We have a lot of fun.
Oh,
So,
God.
all right. So here we go.
Here we go. Let's do this. Let's talk about
Okay.
50, over 50, being fit over 50 or how to get there, right?
Or even 60.
Or even 60 or 70. I've got
Or
people in my
70.
program in their 70s and 80. 80 is
Wow.
the oldest that I've had in my program. And she actually was an entrepreneur, starting as an entrepreneur in her 80s. Goes
Wow.
to show you.
Yes.
Goes to show you what happens when you've got your health.
Yep.
Yep. Age is
Age
just a
is
number.
just a number.
That's
Yep.
fantastic.
Yep. You're never too old and it's never too late.
Exactly. Yes.
So, a lot of our demographic is women in that age group, right? Women over 45, over 50. So we want to get into your fabulous healthy living, right?
Mhm.
So how does the food and fitness formula change for women going through perimenopause to postmenopause, that age group?
Yeah, this is a really great question because people tend to do the same things they did when they were in their 20s and 30s, eat the same. I get a lot of people saying, I eat exactly like I used to, but I don't feel energized. I don't feel strong. I've gained weight, especially around the midsection. Why is this happening? And it is because the food formula and the fitness formula, it shifts with age. So if you're doing things that you were doing in your 20s and 30s, it's probably not going to be beneficial or work for you that well. So one of the things, I can't remember if you asked me if it was the food that changes or the fitness that changes or both.
Both.
Well, when
Metabolism.
yeah, there you go. Metabolism is a big one, and it's fairly common, or we know that protein levels change as we age. So basically protein synthesis, so our ability to use protein to enhance lean muscle, to help with immune function, it goes down as we age, and protein degradation, or breaking down the protein or breaking down muscle, it increases with age, right? So you really have to be able to fuel yourself with protein properly. And that doesn't mean, a lot of people say, oh, well, that I cut out all my carbs, or I only eat the carbs from the veggies and that's it. So that should be enough. But you also need to have your carbohydrates. You need complex or whole food carbohydrates. It helps with thyroid function because hormones are shifting, as you
Mhm.
know, with perimenopause all the way even to postmenopause. Hormones have shifted. And you're also dealing with different chronic conditions that can come up. Lorraine, you've been really open about osteoporosis as estrogen levels drop. You have a greater probability of having osteopenia, osteoporosis. Taking care of bone health is really important. And the first thing people think is, oh, well, I should then supplement with calcium, but that's not the case, right? You really have to understand that there are a lot of shifts happening both with hormones and with your health conditions that are going on that need to be addressed differently with food. So I talked about protein, but it is really important to also get your healthy fats and make sure that you still have carbs. Don't cut out a food group because you're trying to get better results that way.
So for women in that age group, say from between 50 and 60, say, what
Mhm.
would be a good amount of protein grams per day that they should be?
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. Everybody always asks me that, but here's the question. Are you active or are you not? Are you weight training or are you not? Because depending on your activity level, that's also going to change the amount of protein you need. So it's very specific. So in my program, for example, I tailor it. Like we talk about exactly how much protein you need based on your activity level, your exact age, and what's going on with you, whether you're vegetarian or vegan, what's happening with you. Because again, protein bioavailability, your ability to use protein, it
Mhm.
shifts based on whether it is more of a plant-based source or whether it's a meat source. So that shifts. On average, if you're 50 to 60, let's say you need a gram, so 1 gram to 1.2 to 1.5 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, not pound. Not pound. People get really scared. They think it's a pound, but really you want to start anywhere from 1 gram per kilogram of body weight to 1.2, for example, I'd say for an active woman.
Okay. And then I know along with the perimenopause and through postmenopause, as our body's changing, we may find, especially after exercise, or even it might prevent us from exercising, body aches and
Mhm,
pains. So
mhm.
can you address that? What?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and it's really common, and I think that's when a lot of women, they'll go to their doctor, they say, I'm achy, I feel sore, and their doctors say, this is a part of age. Just, get over it. That's a part of life. That's what you have to go through now. But it's not. It's really common as you're going through perimenopause all the way to postmenopause. And in fact, some of the studies show that as you increase into postmenopause, you could have more pain than when you were in perimenopause, and it starts
Mhm.
then. And one of the big reasons that happened is because of inflammation that's in the body. So there's this belief like as estrogen levels drop,
Mhm.
right, our inflammation goes up, which is true. But what people don't understand is we have more than one type of estrogen in our body. We have
Mhm.
three main types of estrogen in our body. We have I always pronounce this improperly, estradiol.
Estradiol.
Oh my gosh,
Estradiol.
I
Yeah.
always call it estradiol
Ah,
every
you fit
time.
right in around here with that
Yes. Yes.
pronunciations. Yes,
Can you
life
believe
isn't
I know
perfect,
that one?
and neither are we. That's right.
Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
I always, yeah, perfect. It's all about the speech. But anyways, so that is the one that we have when we're going through puberty. We have the highest amount. That's the protective one, the anti-inflammatory type of
Mhm.
estrogen, and the one that really helps with cartilage and bone health. But then as we go through the transition, as we gain more fat, especially, we tend to get the type of inflammatory estrogen that is in fat cells, the estrone. That type is inflammatory. So as we are declining with our anti-inflammatory estrogen, we increase, especially if you've got weight to lose or you've got more fat deposits. A
Mhm.
lot of women talk about how the chest, I know that's something for me. I never had a boob in my life, okay? and and now as I'm getting older, my chest is getting more, it's bigger, and it's fat
Yeah.
deposits, right?
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
estrone in there. That's inflammatory. And so this inflammation in the body is what creates a lot of aches and pains. And it's something that we need to really focus in on with our food and how we exercise.
Yeah. Makes total sense because I'm having it right now. And I know My pain does increase by certain foods that I eat, especially if I've indulged in some processed things. That inflammation really flares up. And I know that when I do pay attention, especially eating maybe more veggies, more greens, that inflammation goes down and I feel better. And of course, the
Yeah.
exercise helps. Doing my stretching, doing my exercises all the time definitely helps. If I sit all day, it gets a lot worse. What about you, Joy? Do you notice it?
Yes, I do notice it. And I don't have an issue with inflammation. I don't think I ever have because aches and pains have never really been an issue for me. What I do have questions about, and actually you posted on Instagram about this, about the walking.
Mm.
My exercise regimen has changed. It's gone up and down over the years, depending on how much time I have and et cetera. I'm a big walker. I walk every day as much as I can.
Mhm.
And I just don't feel like that's enough now because that doesn't really build muscle. When you're a consistent walker, you have that base amount of muscle that you kind of keep all the time. You're not really building additional muscle. And so for me, I'm wondering what kind of an exercise program would you suggest? What type of exercise should women who are over 45, they're perimenopausal, they're menopausal, what should they be doing to maintain their muscle and possibly build some muscle as well? Because I know the consistent walking, it's great, but it's not getting it done.
Yeah. And, this is what right now, if you look on a lot of the social media, this is kind of what the debate is. Like you're hearing people saying, walking is enough. No, it's not. Yes, it is. At least in my world. And I know all of our YouTubes and everything else are really like set to us and what we've been watching. So I want to make it clear that if you're just starting out, which is not you, but if you are just starting out, anything is going to be new and it
Right.
is enough. So if you are starting with exercise and walking is your lowest hanging fruit, do it. It's great. What happens is our bodies are incredibly efficient. So we start to adapt to what we are given as a normal stimulus in a day. So if you're just standard walking, hiking in the woods, having a good time talking to your friends, or you've got a good clip, but it's the same clip you're always doing, you adapt to that, it is not doing anymore after a while.
Right.
And so you'll notice, even if you have, I don't know if you guys have like Fitbits or Apple Watches, anything of the kind, I don't really like to look at the calorie count on that. For me, everything to do with technology and calorie count and calories in general, people so excited that they burn calories. I'm not a big fan of that. However, if you were new to walking and you had one of these devices, you'll notice your calorie count is really high because your body was not at a balanced state. It takes a long time for you to be efficient, to be able to find this walking level, a normal part of your everyday activity. So those calories are really high because you're burning a lot to try and just be efficient and maintain the amount of activity you're doing. Over time, you'll notice, oh, I didn't burn as many calories on that
Right.
exact same walk. And it's because your body's like, yeah, you've been there, done that. We're really used to it now. That's really
Yeah.
how it works. So it isn't enough in the long run. There are a few things that you can do. If walking is still something you like, you can power walk. There are power walkers that go faster than some people doing marathons that are running. Excellent. So you can pick up the speed. You can go up hills. You can start to jog or to cycle or to do something where your heart rate's getting into a higher intensity zone. I know I saw your face. You were like, no. Is that for the running?
Yeah, I don't run. No, I'm not built to run. No. I can't do that. I'll hurt myself. I'll hurt other people.
Okay, well,
Wildlife will be in trouble. It'll be bad. Yeah, no.
How about weight training? Because weight training is the other thing. Weight training is a must to put on lean mass. And first, if you're new to weight training, I bet your heart rate's going to get higher because you're not efficient at it yet. You're learning the movement patterns. And then over time, going through heavier cycles, which we should be doing, you need to create a demand on muscle, a demand on bone. So for you to do that, you might need to go through heavier weight training periods and your heart rate can go high again. People don't think that weight training can be a cardiovascular or a higher intensity workout, and it can be depending on what you're doing with it.
I do agree with that. I can see how that would make your heart rate increase, especially if you're new to it. Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Okay, so this is a great segue into my next question, which is one that plagues me. It does. and that is dun dun dun, ye old belly fat. I mean,
Oh.
I got a little of it right here, right now, wanting to talk to you. Yeah, it's got a lot of questions to ask. Yeah. So,
But I don't hear them though today.
well,
Our bellies talk all the time on
all
the
the time.
podcast.
Really?
There's actually 4 of us co-hosting this podcast.
Wow.
Our bellies.
Interesting.
Yeah. I know that's going to be thrilling for everyone listening. I usually cut that part out for the audio version, but you know, it is what it is. They're all entertaining and intelligent. I will say that. So, okay, if you are peri or postmenopausal and you are trying to lose belly fat and you can't just cut calories, this is an issue. A lot of people, and I dare not speak ill of any companies or programs who are helping with weight loss. Okay. But
I do all the time. No.
oh, you're a dangerous one, aren't you? I love it. Okay. Well, you know who I'm talking about, those new platforms and apps and things like that. And they worked well. But I know that for the long run, for me personally, belly fat is an issue. I would like some type of conversation about how to sustainably lose belly fat without constantly cutting calories, because when you're in menopause and your metabolism is changing, your muscle mass is changing, your whole body is changing, and you used to be one way, and like you talked about before, you are not eating any differently or you're not doing anything differently than you used to, but you can't maintain your body the way you have in the past. How do you manage that? How do you deal with that as a menopausal woman?
The meno belly, right?
The
That's what
meno
they call
belly.
it. The meno belly.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mine
I
likes
think-
kale.
I think at the first reaction for many is, oh, I really have to get rid of this. Like, it's almost like a, please, like, help me. At least with my clients, they're like, please, this isn't something that feels good. And it isn't just vanity, although looking great, you know, when you see pictures of yourself or in the mirror is something that we all want to feel
Sure.
confident in the bodies that we have. But it's more like I'm dragging this along with me, or I sit down and it's just like making it hard to breathe or to move, what comes along with it. And so with this feeling for many, well, I'll say some feel almost like a desperation, like I just have to get rid of this. So their first reaction is do as much at hard intensity for as long as I can with the exercise and cut calories, these two things together. And I just want to grab everyone that does this and just say, please, like there is a way to do this and it's more sustainable, because let's say you do decide to do that. How long can you really keep it up for?
Not long.
Not long. And we all want to feel confident, to look our best, to feel our best for the rest of our lives. And so there has to be a strategy that works better. So let's first start with what is a standard natural fat loss to lose that's realistic. We want to maintain as much lean muscle as we possibly can, because lean muscle is in charge of our quality of life, reducing our risk of falls, helping with bone density. It is our fat metabolism burning fuel. So we want as much lean muscle at the same time as we lose fat, at the same time as we lose belly fat. So in order to do that, realistically, you only want to lose 1 to 2 pounds of weight per week. And when you take a look at the research, the best thing you can do is to lose weight more slowly, and I'll say lose 1 pound a week. And that is a hard thing for people to hear. When I say just start there, and I'm not even saying that, like, if you're using a scale as your weight, your inches could go down more, your belly fat could go down more, but you want the scale to go down incredibly slowly. Not only is it better for you maintaining
no
your
problem
fat,
here.
there you go. But that gives you some enjoyment as well. It's not just this strict, like cutting out all these food groups, cutting back on calories. And when we take a look just at calorie count, our calorie needs up to the age of 65. At 65, there's a huge shift. And I will say that things shift again at 65. There's a huge shift at 45. There's a huge shift at 65. Many women start to feel it in their 50s more than their 40s. One, because they're incredibly busy and it's like almost like you're just a whirlwind going through everything and then you wake up. But the other is menopause. Like, let's be real. You're going through menopause and you're going to really feel it for some. Anyways, the calorie shift from when you were in your 20s to your 50s, there's only about a 200 to 250 calorie deficit from that time frame. So people think, well, now I'm older, I should be really cutting back calories because I'm older now, I don't have as much lean muscle, I'm sedentary. Well, no, guess what? Your calorie difference is only about 200 to 250 calories from what it was when you were in your 20s. So from there, it's not really about shifting your calories as it is about really focusing in on the quality of your nutrition and your macronutrients. So do you have healthy proteins in there? Your healthy carbohydrates that are higher in nutrient levels and your healthy fats. And I say higher nutrient levels because we know nutrient absorption is less with age, and we need to really fuel our body properly in order to absorb as much nutrients as we can.
Makes total sense.
It does. Oh,
Yeah.
Lorraine, you're always preaching about the macronutrients and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I even mentioned, like for belly fat, that it's important that you're fueling your body properly. And just because the scale goes down slowly doesn't mean you're not losing inches, because you're working on the lean muscle, right? You're doing your weight training, wink, wink, right?
Well, okay. We'll go with that right now. Well, yeah, Lorraine, you do. Yeah.
We'll get Joy there. We'll get her there.
Okay.
The more she hears about it all, the more you hear about it, Joy, the more you're going to be like, oh, this is starting to seep in. Now I've got to do this.
Oh, I know I need to be doing it. Don't get me wrong. I know I need to be doing it.
Which is the perfect segue into this one. So I know, like you talked about, like, especially as it changes in your 40s, there's a shift, and you said in your 60s, which I happen to notice. I'm 66, and at 65 is when I started feeling a few more aches and pains. I feel like things are changing. My body is changing a little bit more. I'm noticing all of that. But along with that, maybe you can address those chronic health conditions that come along as we get into the 55 and older.
Yes, even in your 50s, and they're starting to find some, like insulin resistance is one. In your 40s, you could notice that as well. So anyone listening in your 40s, you could start to notice these big shifts.
They're noticing it in children now. So we really need to be paying attention. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and on the nutrition factor as well, I must say, that's a whole different topic. We
Yeah.
could go into
Yeah.
that one for
Oh, yeah.
hours. Yeah. So even though I said carbohydrates, we need to eat them, our insulin sensitivity does shift. And that was one of the big systems that shifts. So we're more prone to getting type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance, metabolic disease as well. So it's something we really have to focus in on. Heart disease, it is a big
Number
killer.
one.
Yep,
Yeah.
big killer for women. And again, that's due to that drop in estrogen. And so we no longer have the heart health benefits that we had. Bone loss, osteoporosis, osteopenia, again, because estrogen protects our bones, it helps build. Think of the estradiol. See how I had to say that very slowly to say it properly? That word gets me every time.
You got it.
Okay, well, estradiol, it helps build. Think of it as building, protecting. And so we really need to work on our bone density as well. Those are the big ones. But as you are 50 plus, we are, as women, more prone to thyroid issues as well. And one of the big things I see, a lot of women say they end up getting diagnosed with Hashimoto's after doing extremes. I won't talk about the extreme diets that they've done, but let's talk about 500 calorie diets in general and the really intense workouts.
So dangerous.
Yeah.
Yes. It
500
is
calories. Oof,
yeah.
that's
Like a very, very, some
nothing.
of these are doctor prescribed. Some of these weight loss programs are actually connected to insurance or to your hospital or doctor's offices. And so you really need to make sure that what you're doing is going to be good for you. So if it's an extreme calorie loss, some of the fasting protocols I actually have issues with as well, depending on what it is. There's so many nowadays that I'm not saying every single one of them, but if they're trying to get you to have 500 calories a day and not eat for days on end, that is not healthy for your hormone function, for your health in general, for your thyroid. And we really need to protect our thyroid as we're getting older. And that's another one of the big conditions. So again, weight training is really important for heart health. People don't even realize for heart health, that weight training is
Yeah.
really good.
I never would have considered that. So that brings me to the next question is, when you have certain health conditions, what are your suggestions of how you can create a program that will help you eat and exercise in an effective way to maintain a healthy body weight within all of these conditions and parameters that you now have to look at because you are in menopause?
Well, again, it really depends on what's going on with you. You definitely need to get your doctor's clearance. If you are in late stages osteoporosis, I don't want to put a 100-pound bar on your back and say, jump now.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
you know what I mean? So you do definitely need to get your doctor's okay to exercise, and definitely get what their advice would be for eating and exercise. Doctors aren't always, it's very hard. You really need to find a good doctor that's keeping up to date with their research. You have to remember that many doctors are open about the fact they have a 3-month nutrition course out of all of their many years of being in the medical field. And so you need to get their permission to exercise based on what's going on with your x-rays or with your health. Absolutely. But then it comes down to one, listening to your body. If you know something is wrong or doesn't feel right, you are the best predictor of your own health, and understand you are in charge of that. So do not let somebody else dictate how many calories you're going to eat, what foods you can and can't eat. You really need to see how that feels for you. Does that make sense?
It does. It makes sense. And Lorraine and I are both kind of chortling to ourselves because we've talked plenty about the medical establishment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the lack of women's health research studies, all the women
Education.
women
Right.
being dismissed consistently at the doctor's office. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yes. And it really makes people feel, well, women feel like they're going insane. Like, I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many clients I've had. They've said, I've gone to my doctor 1,000 times. They tell me I'm fine. They tell me my panels are good. Everything is great. I know something is off. I don't feel well. Like, I'm like, yes, you're going through menopause. You need somebody that is really going to listen to what your hormone panels are, what's going on
Yeah.
with you, your health, and somebody that advocates for you. That's a big thing for me. Is for my clients, I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be a doctor, but I will definitely advocate for you. And if you know something is wrong or off with your body, you need to keep on pushing until you get answers.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't like your doctor, you seek out another one.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mhm.
So again, another great segue into a question I've had. And actually, this is something that I struggled with for quite some time, but Lorraine helped me with supplements and other things my doctor helped me out with. My functional medicine doctor actually was a huge help. So
Oh, functional medicine
yes.
doctors are the bomb.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
If only insurance would cover them.
I know. Yeah.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
that be great?
Yeah.
Okay, fatigue and lack of motivation, that can become a big issue when you enter into your menopause years. So, how does someone get active and stay active if they don't have that energy or motivation to even just get started?
Yeah, that is a definite hard question, because if you don't have the motivation, if you're feeling really tired, again, it comes down to the lowest hanging fruit. Whatever you can do is enough. And you need to give yourself permission for that at first, because not just at first, always. Like, you need to give yourself permission. There are going to be days maybe where you're not sleeping well, especially if you're going through menopause. That is one huge symptom. You don't sleep well. So if you've had a really bad night's sleep and you are expecting to get up and do your huge, heavy weight training routine, you need to be prepared to switch that up, and that is okay. Give yourself permission to do that. Do a stretch session. I have some workouts that I actually share on my YouTube channel that I'll give you the link for, but some of them are like, you can literally lie down and do some weights and deep breathing in between. Focus in on what you can do at that time, and that is enough. We just need movement in our life. You need to give yourself permission to do that. And then on a day you feel better, you can just switch out for your heavier weight training or your different workout routine that you were planning. Give yourself flexibility and permission to do that. That's really important. It's going to help with motivation.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you touched on sleep a little bit. Do you have any recommendations on how to get better sleep? I just did a sleep challenge in our group, my private
Oh,
group. So I have a few ideas, but I'd like to hear your take on because it's always helpful to get sleep routines from people who are in the know.
yes. Okay. Well, I think the first one I'm going to say, we probably all know, I don't know how many people do it now, but can turn off your technology a couple hours before you go to bed. And that's a hard one, right? I know I have people that are on their phones. The worst you can do is use the screen in bed. Like if that's what you're using as your reading material, your mobile phone, if that's, that dates me there, telephone. If you're using your phone for, screen time or watching YouTube videos, like I was talking about how I like to do that for subtitles and that sort of thing, that's going to stimulate you. It's going to keep you awake. It's not going to allow your melatonin levels to rise and your cortisol to slowly descend. So that's something you definitely want to work on. For many, doing cardio sessions that are intense at night and then trying to go to bed, that elevates cortisol. That's really hard on your sleep pattern. What you want to do is have relaxing exercises at night, more deep breathing, your yoga. You can even do a weight training that's not your intense weight training. Let's say a lighter weight training, or try and do your exercise earlier in the morning when your cortisol is naturally higher. If you can, I know everyone has different schedules, but if you can do your workout in the morning, better, because that's going to allow the cortisol to be higher and it's going to allow for that natural decline throughout the day, and it's feeding into the cortisol rhythms. So
I feel that all the time when I have to exercise in the morning. If it gets past noon, my energy level is not where it should be to do the exercise, and I don't feel like I get a good workout then. So I need to do
yeah.
it. I need to do it in the morning.
And it's important to listen to that body if you can. And again, I do understand, I'm very empathetic that there are people that are working or they
Right.
can't. And some people, because they haven't slept, they're sleeping in, right? They haven't been able to sleep properly at night. And so waking up first thing in the morning to do a workout is just not a possibility. You're trying to get and maximize as much sleep as you can. And then when you have to wake up because you're working or doing your day, that's just the way it is. What I'm saying is try not to have your heavy cardio sessions at night. It could be walking, but your long, slow distance, it's more like, hey, chatting with a friend, going into the woods, forest bathing, which is, taking in the natural scenery. If you guys are around areas that have trees and lakes and all of the fun stuff.
I was going to share, did you hear? I heard this woman on Instagram talk about, I think she called them fart walks.
What is a
So,
fart walk?
so that's an after dinner walk to get everything moving. She said her and her husband take fart walks.
I love that. I love it. And then you're doing it outside, so all of the toxic chemicals are being released out there, right?
Right.
Lorraine, that's what we do when we podcast.
Oh, I like
Oh
that.
boy.
Oh, now I'm gonna use
fart
that.
walk. Yeah. So now when I do go on a walk with Rich sometimes, and I'll say that, are we going on our fart walk?
I can't wait to tell my husband.
Oh,
He's gonna love it.
oh.
I just don't even know what to say after that.
Well, I think we need to let Alicia share all about her masterclass now. We want to hear okay, so she's got a free masterclass. I know she'll share a lot of these things that we talked about here, but tell us a little bit about what the women will get with that when they sign up for your masterclass.
Before we do that, let's make sure that we say anything that we talk about here today in Alicia's YouTube channel, anywhere you can find information about her masterclass, her website, all of that. Links for everything will be in the description of this show. So please check those links out and we'll make sure we direct you where you need to go so that you can access all of her information. Okay.
Yay. Oh, well, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my free masterclass is called the 3-phase food and fitness formula every woman over 50 needs to know in order to melt away the midlife midsection. I know we talked about belly fat, so melt away the midlife midsection, increase your strength, and achieve optimal health. And so I go through, if you're not weight training, Joy, if you're not weight training now, we talk about, even if you are active, if you're walking or you're doing other forms of activity, basically what I do is I go through the 3-phase weight training formula and how you can adapt your nutrition as well in these phases, because there are 3 phases. I don't want to give them away. You can learn all about it when you go to the free masterclass, but how to really progress yourself, create that stimulus we talked about to really enhance lean muscle, help burn belly fat, and create your best second half, your best quality of life in your second half, because it isn't just about fat loss, although that's great. It is about your health, right? It is about living this second half with the best vibrance that you can have. And that's what we'll talk about in ways that are doable.
Yeah.
I love that.
We want to be able to do these things for as long as we can, as independently as we can, right? That's the goal. Yeah. So I encourage everyone to go to the link. It'll be in the show notes, and sign up for Alicia's masterclass now. You need this. You need this. Joy.
Joy.
Joy's getting joy shamed here. I do need it though. That desperately. Yes, that's true. Yes. And I will check it out for sure. Yes.
So this has been wonderful. It was so nice to have you on the podcast today. And we hope to have you back because, like you said, there's so many things to talk about when it comes to women's health in general. So I hope you'll come back and see us.
And thanks for teaching me about fart walks. I will now take my husband on one of those. I'm sure he'll love it.
Just make sure you're like in an open space and not near any flame or anything. Yes.
That's it. Yeah. And no toxins in the house, right?
And no recordings.
Oh, I love it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it was our pleasure.
It was absolutely our pleasure. It was lovely to meet you. And this has been super fun recording this episode. And we look forward to meeting up with you again at some point.
Hey, definitely.
Yeah.
As we get ready to wind it up, I do want to remind everyone, if you want to see the extended version of these podcast episodes where we include all the bloopers, which are super funny, go check out our YouTube channel. You can do that by searching Girlish Gurus. And Alicia also has a YouTube channel. That is Alicia Jones Healthy Living. So check that out. Subscribe. Give our videos likes and shares, because that engagement allows us to create more content for you. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to help you live your best, happiest, healthiest life. So make sure you check everything out. Make sure you drop us a comment if you have some suggestion of something you'd like to hear about on our next podcast episode. And we would be happy to do a deep dive on that for you. And we just want to hear from you and know how you're doing. So thanks for watching and listening and supporting us. And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Girlish Gurus. We hope you'll join us next time for more fun and inspiration. Be sure to check the description of this episode for links and information about the topic, and you can find us on our social media platforms, starting with Instagram, Facebook, and now including YouTube. You can find us by searching Girlish Gurus, and you can also check out our website, girlishgurus.com, for more information on us, our projects, books, and our growing community.
And don't forget to download this episode, give it a good review, and share it with your girlfriends. We would also love to hear from you in the comments, because the more interaction we get, the more episodes we can post. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.